Hello and welcome to another Hearthstone discussion video. My name's Lumin and right now we're going to talk about some of the changes that were made that you may not even have realized were made in the latest Hearthstone beta patch. Now, in the patch notes, Blizzard actually gave us a whole lot of information, but it wasn't all that was changed. So I've got a list of things here that I want to just mention and perhaps even show you guys. I'm going to see how much of the footage I can get of the stuff that I'm talking about, and I'll have it playing in the background so you can see it for yourselves, because it is kind of impressive. I was actually pretty shocked that there was that much that they could have changed. I mean, I thought to myself, this game's done. There are a couple of bugs, really small bugs that don't really even matter that much. Sure, there's some balancing that needs to be done, but otherwise, it seems perfectly playable and perfectly polished. But somehow Blizzard have polished it even more. Now, they mentioned in their blog post about the patch notes that the crafting mode and the new UI that was added, the credits have been added, which are kind of cool. If you've got a bit of time, if you're in the beta, or, well, if you're not in the beta, when you do get into the game, have a look at the credits, because there's some really cool and interesting card art there that you wouldn't otherwise see, and you get to see the people that were behind the game, the people that made the game, in an interesting fashion. Definitely worth checking out. I will obviously put a bit of it in the background, as I said, so you can see that. They mentioned the balance changes, they mentioned that a whole lot of cards would be getting new art. Now that doesn't seem to be a whole lot. I've seen maybe 2 cards, 3 perhaps, that have new or changed art, and other than that, I know that golden cards also got updated. A whole lot of them have their images properly moving and animated now, and then every single card in the game has flavor text, which is also something I feel I could spend a whole lot of time on. I mean, I could make a video series that's just me sitting here, going through every card, reading the flavor text, and laughing at it, because some of that stuff is really, really, really good. So good. So if you have a favorite card and you have perhaps not checked its flavor text out, go have a look. You can just right click on it in your collection manager, it'll pop up and you can read it right the heck there. You can also see the name of the artist who drew the art of the card. Then there's also the new animation for the coin. That's the final thing that they mentioned in their patch notes, which is, in my honest opinion, really cool. It's basically just a visualization of what we knew was happening every time we got the coin, because when it says you're going second, then you see this little coin spinning there, and then suddenly the card just used to pop up in your hand, but now the coin spins and the card sort of appears with it there. They become one, then you get the coin card that floats down into your hand and you set. But that's it for the changes that they mentioned. Now I will tell you a few of the changes that I myself saw, and I thought to myself at the time of seeing them, wow, this is great. Now some of them were obviously a lot easier to recognize, to see, to pick out, but some were a lot more subtle. A lot more. Now, when you first jump into the game and the Hearthstone splash screen pops up, you can now see that that is much better looking. I always kept saying to everyone that they gotta work on that, because those jaggles, they don't look good. So it's much less jaggly. It looks like they got some proper anti-aliasing on there, and it seems like it's a separate image now. So when you open the game up, then you see the pub doors, the Hearthstone pub doors, and the logo itself of the game appears on top of that. And the logo itself is looking a whole lot better now. A whole lot better. It's looking good. Then, I would say that the visuals all round of the game have also just been improved. Now, the graphics options are rather limited. You get to choose between low, medium, and high. I've been playing on high all this time, and I think most people are probably playing on high because I assume you don't need that fast a PC to do so. But now on high, it seems like there is a whole lot of anti-aliasing. The whole game just has a smoother look to it. So everything just looks a whole lot nicer. More Blizzard, I guess, the kind of thing you'd expect from them. I actually had the same feel when I played Diablo back when it launched. So when they went from beta Diablo 3 to the launch version, the visuals just they just got a whole lot better. There were no notes about that in the patch notes. They didn't say anything. It just got better. And all of this is obviously, I suppose, solidifying the fact that the game is getting closer to launch, and they're smoothing out everything they needed to smooth out before they exposed this to everyone out there that wants to play it, before they start distributing it in a much larger or more rapid fashion. Then all added to the improved smoothness and overall visuals, they also added a new lighting system that I realized. Minions have this pulsating light that comes out from them at certain points. I'm not sure if it's when they kind of highlighted for you to, you like, know this guy can attack now. So they have this glowing light around them. It's very subtle, but I know it wasn't there before. It's kind of cool. Then added to that, what is possibly my favorite addition with a new patch, I don't know how it couldn't be your favorite addition, is the new Warcraft 2 music that they have playing on the play mode spinner. I'm not sure what you even call that thing, but when you click on play or find arena match or whatever, and it's matching you against an opponent and it locks on worthy opponent with all those other funny and interesting options there, but it always obviously locks on worthy opponent. With that spin thing, when it pops up now, there's this amazing retro music, Blizzard retro music, that comes up, and it just does it for me. I'm going to put a piece of it in here for you guys to listen to, and you can just see and hear for yourselves. I like it. I really, really like it. Such a good idea. And the older Warcraft games' music just fits. It suits Hearthstone so well. Even Warcraft 3's music is a little bit much. I don't know how to explain it, but it's a bit too grand in terms of its scale for it to work with something like Hearthstone, but the Warcraft 1 and 2 music just right. It fits. And I love it. It is perfect. Then when it ends, it has this thing, and then it stops, and you get matched with your opponent, and the normal music starts up again. So cool. Such a tiny little thing, but it just makes the game feel that much more complete. That much more complete. My favorite new addition. Right the heck there. Now, there are some other really cool ones that would come in a close second, or worse. There's a new mouse pointer for observing. Don't know if you guys have realized that in any of the videos that I've put up yet, but it's kinda cool. It really is. The problem I had with the previous observing mouse pointer was that you couldn't see where you were clicking or where you needed to click. So now it's got this little eye that when you click it blinks, and it's got a little arrow pointing at where the pointer of the pointer is. So you can accurately click on things now, because that was a problem. Before, say on the Pandaria map, you wanted to pick the little petals, and you want to pick the petals. Of course you want to pick the petals. They're there to be picked. Because they just pop right back up at you. So you want to pick the petals, but you can't figure out now, where do I need to click? How do I need to do this? Then you got to get it like at this really awkward position where the bottom right hand side of the little observer icon needs to touch in the middle of the petal for it to click. That wasn't cool. That wasn't fun. Now, however, it's perfect. It's really, really cool. I like it. They did good with that. And then the visuals on the normal main cursor also been improved a little bit. Looks a little bit better. Not a whole lot though. And then next up, another pretty big one. Taunt now has an animation. So when you drop a taunting minion out, they actually drop as you'd expect a regular minion to drop, with a little oval frame. They pop down, and then the taunting shield just pops out from the sides. It's kind of cool. Reminds me of those little dinosaurs in Jurassic Park with the big neck fins. It looks kind of like that, because they pop out like little blades on the sides, and I like it. It just makes it look once again more polished. Somehow. Got some peppermint tea here. Eileen, my fiance, now has me using the peppermint tea bags twice. She says that's how you need to do it, else it's a waste. And I'm not going to argue with a girl, because you don't argue with your fiance. Not about stuff like that, and it kind of makes sense. I get double the amount of tea out of every box. I like it. Not that that has anything to do with Hearthstone, but I thought I'd tell you. Then, the UI colors in the menu. Now this, I suppose, I could have included in the little bit at the start where I mentioned what they said had changed, but the UI colors have changed a bit. In practice mode, the green shade that they have there is a much nicer green now. Some of the other colors have been tweaked a little bit. It's all just looking more distinct now. So practice looks different than play. Play looks different than when you're challenging your friends. They all have their own colors now, and it's nice. It's kind of nice. Then smaller things that I thought I'd also mention. There are new sound effects for most of the spells. Most of them, not all of them. You'll come to realize this as you either watch videos or play the game for yourself. There are new sound effects on most of the hero abilities as well, along with new visual effects on both of these things. So things like Arcane Explosion, new visual effect, looks kind of cool, much more solid now. Life Tap, Steady Shot for Hunters, they all have slightly improved visuals on their hero abilities. They also have different sound effects. Armor Up, for instance, on Warrior makes a bit more sense now. It sounds more like you would think Armoring Up sounds like. I don't know what Armoring Up would really sound like, but if I had to say, it would sound like that. Sounds right now. Then, there's also a sound effect on the combat log, so if you scroll over to the side now, your sound sort of lowers itself, and then there's this little ch when you're busy hovering over the things in the combat log. These are all just little things that don't really mean very much, but I thought I'd bring them up because I like talking about these things, and I guess I paid too much attention to all these tiny little goodies that Blizzard change. It's probably not healthy, it probably makes me play much worse, but I like it. Finally, the last thing on the list is there are new animations, and this is not the last thing that's been changed. This is just the last thing that I realized over the past couple of games that I played. The animations have been added for things like a ooze killing a weapon, or so for battlecry effects like a frost elemental coming into play and freezing someone. Now there's actually a visual that occurs that shows a little frost bolt flying towards the person that you're freezing and then locking it in place. Same for the ooze. When you play that, it makes this little acidic bolt that pops over to your opponent's weapon and destroys it. It's nice. It really is. And I'm left wondering after seeing all of this, what else could they possibly do? Now, I mentioned a whole lot of stuff before about things that they could do with the visuals of the game. A day-night system could be kind of fun, messing around with the lighting of that. Imagine a battle at dusk. The colors would be beautiful. Or a midnight battle, where your spell effects and stuff would have nice lighting effects on the game boards. You'd have the different lighting from all the different sides. I kind of briefly touched upon this in my game boards discussion video, but these are things that they could do. But I think at the moment, it's probably just polishing for the most part. Because if I had to look at the game right now, there's not that much polishing that needs to happen. There are a couple of golden card portrait animations that still need to be done. I suppose that is higher up on their list of priorities. Higher than, say, adding a whole new day-night system or whatever I was just suggesting. Then there are a few other things, like visual artifacts that occur when you alt-tab. That's obviously not good either. You want to be able to alt-tab at any time and not break the game. I had it in my arena run last night that when I alt-tabbed, it removed all the highlighting, so I could never see which cards I could afford and which I couldn't afford, which were playable, which weren't playable, and that didn't really make me like lose the game or play that much worse, but it made my turns take a little longer. Quite a bit longer actually. Then before that, I also alt-tabbed once, alt-tabbed back, then I couldn't even see my mana crystals. at all. Some other card had lodged itself over that. That's another thing that happens quite often, is that cards get stuck in different positions on the game board. It looks a little bit weird, kind of gets in the way sometimes, but not the biggest deal. These are obviously things they're working on, but hey, judging from the list that I just recited to you guys, it seems like they're doing a reasonably good job right now, Blizzard that is, and Team 5 that are working on Hearthstone, at getting this game ready for everyone. And I know that most of you guys want that to happen sooner rather than later, and this is just me reporting that it's happening. It's happening. Not like that. Not that extreme, but they are getting there. They're getting there. There's not much they can actually still do and change and improve, and that's impressive. I think that before the end of the year, this game is going to be perfect. And who knows, before the end of the month, I think a whole lot of you guys that want to be in this game will be in it, playing it, and enjoying it. Yes. That is sadly going to be it for this discussion video. I know it wasn't really very substantial in what I spoke about, but these little things, they matter to me. They really do. I enjoy trying to spot the differences after something like a patch happens, and I just thought you guys would enjoy seeing or hearing about some of the changes that I've noticed. So there you go. Happy that.